Okay, this topic actually is something that many people are very curious about, but it's a very difficult topic to talk about, right? Because the complexity of it. Okay, so I want you to have at least some expectation that today, what we're going to cover in these 2 hours is everything you need to know. Okay, but of course, doesn't mean I cover everything. Tonight you go home, you become wave experts lah. It doesn't happen that way, right? But I just want you to know that the content that I'm going to share with you today is everything you need to know to trade the wave. Okay, of course, you can add on more things of what you already know, what you've been using. Okay, so this is something I want everyone to have the expectation. Okay, it's everything you need to know, but you need practice. Okay, so it's not like tonight, after that, tomorrow you become wave expert. Okay, now, whoa, this is a bit off. Okay, but still okay. Okay, so if you are not yet a friend of mine on Facebook, alright, feel free to add me. This is also on the notes, so you can take your time at home, later go to Facebook, go to Instagram and follow me. Now, this is the 5-step framework that all you need to know for Elliott wave. Okay, of course it starts with, on top is directional bias, which is the first thing we're going to talk about. Okay, followed by pattern recognition. Okay, something that many people struggle in Elliott wave. And then we'll talk a little bit about fractal confirmation, right? Or some of you might be very familiar with the term multi-time frame. Okay, so fractal confirmation is multi-time frame. In wave, if you want to use it, it's very suitable for you to use multi-time frame. If you are not using multi-time frame in wave, you're actually not leveraging on the strength of wave analysis. Okay, termination points, I'll give you the idea on where would waves or where would price likely terminate. Okay, now why I don't put entry and stops or takes profit over here, because many of us have different techniques to enter a market. Okay, but what I want to cover is what are the high probability levels and points and areas in which price would likely end and terminate. And then from there, you know, okay, once this is the area where price is likely terminate, you adopt your own entry technique. And of course, last, today we'll cover on market forecasting, which means projecting 2 steps ahead, 3 steps ahead of what the market is likely going to do. Alright, so for the first hour, we'll likely cover this 3 segment. Then the next hour, we'll cover this 2 segment, yeah? Now, first one we talk about is directional bias. Okay, this part here, these 3 points, I need you to... yes. Okay. So the slides will also be given to you, so don't need to worry too much about, need to capture everything. Okay, instead of snapping photos, I would rather you write down your own notes. That is more effective. Okay, so under directional bias, okay, what I want you to know is there are generally 2 movements in the market. Okay, I call them impulse and correction. Okay, so in a while I'll show you some charts for you to understand what is impulse and correction. But the idea I want you to know is these 2 types of movement, alright, market tends to move a lot in corrective or correction phase. Okay, but the idea as traders is you want to catch the impulse. Okay, because impulse gives us a very high probability directional move. Okay, that means if the market move off in a very strong upwards impulse, then you know that the momentum is up. Okay, then the high probability direction is to the upside. Okay, vice versa for down. And this part here is with this concept, this first step covered, okay, directional bias, you'll be able to establish the overall market structure, right? And that gives us your clarity in terms of where is market likely to go to. Okay, so this part here, just want to cover slightly more in depth is that impulses, how do you differentiate impulse and correction? Okay, some of you are already very familiar with this concept, okay, but a quick recap. Impulse are moves in the market that's very strong, that's very clear in one particular direction. Okay, and then correction is the opposite, which means it's moving in one way or another very slowly, not going in any way. Usually we call them like range, environment, and things like that. Right? So basically correction means market is not moving anywhere. It's taking a long time and it's not giving you any idea where is it likely going to go to. Okay, so impulse is strong, fast, correction is slow. Okay, so what we want to also cover is in this part on directional bias, okay, you need to now know how to establish structure, okay, which is where I'm going to spend some time on some charts to share with you this concept of structure. Okay, and then after that, we'll go over to your notes where you have blank charts, and I want you to draw those in. Okay, so the general concept of drawing a structure is you use a trend line to connect two highs or two lows. Okay, so the minimum is 2 points. Okay, so some of you might think, hey, it's like drawing trend line. Yeah, the idea is like drawing trend line. Okay, but what I want you to see is this trend line is not you find any 2 points and then just draw, but this trend lines that you draw must give you certain clarity in terms of what the market is doing. Okay, so this part here, let me go over to a chart, okay, to walk you through that. Whoa, give me a moment. Okay, I'll be using TradingView as my charting. Alright, so if you are not yet familiar with TradingView, just go to tradingview.com and then you'll be able to spot it. Okay, so I'll just work on few sample charts. Should be okay, right? Resolution. Okay, I'll work on some charts and then I want to give you some time to work on some practice as well. Okay, so you gain certain confidence in yourself after today's sharing session. Okay, so now if you look at this chart, okay, it doesn't matter what time frame, okay, but for example, I'll always start with the daily time frame. Okay, so if you look over here on this particular chart, okay, the projector is not helping, hope it's clear, alright? So now, this part here, I want you to see not the past, but towards the future over here, okay? If today you spot that this is the low, okay, and you find another part of a low and you start to connect a trend line. Very simple, you found this. So far, okay? Can, Then the same thing for the top, okay? You spot this high, you draw one line, you extend this a bit, you found the next one. So far, easy? Can, Okay, so that becomes what I call a structure on your dollar index chart. So far, so good? Okay, Next, we just use some example. Oh, I have some drawings here. Okay, now this is euro dollar. Okay, again, if I start with my low here and I draw the line, I just connect this, extend a little bit, I have my lower point. Okay, same thing, I take the high here, I connect, that gives me my other point. So far, so good? Easy, Okay, so that itself is what I call a structure at this current moment. We don't care what's happening in the past. We just want to be current. Give you another third one. Okay, the answers are there. Pound dollar, I take this top, I connect. I take this bottom, I connect. Can you see that? Okay, so usually what I'll do is I just extend it forward. So with these two lines, visually now, can you see likely how price will form? I think this chart is very clear. So far, okay? Can follow me, Now, if you draw this structure in, visually, can you imagine how price would likely move from here to here? Very high chance it will be like this, following this. Okay, so that is what structure should gives you. That kind of clarity in how price would likely move moving forward. So far, so good? Okay, Now, this part here, I have in your notes. Okay, some charts that I've printed is blank. Okay, I want you to now use a pen or pencil to draw in, based on this chart, what is the clearest structure to you. Okay, Now this one here, actually, the clearest one you should see is at least this middle portion. Can see? Okay, use free hand. Okay, I use free hand. Can see? This one very clear cut, Okay, this one. Okay, so some of you might have concepts that you have probably used before, like, oh, it's an uptrend, so I draw a trend line. the whole idea is the same. Okay, so I don't need you to think like, oh, it's an entirely new thing that I need to learn now. No. Okay, so basically, it's use a line, connect 2 points on the chart. That line is not any line, but that line should give you a certain clarity on what the market is doing. Okay, so this one here, okay, I'll give you some time, just draw it in. Okay, if today this exercise you draw it wrong, no worries. Okay, because the slides will be given to you, you have the answer, right? Just take note, oh, this one I drew it wrongly. Then when the slides are given to you, you can go and double check. Okay, so you should be able to see at least this one very clear. And then this one in the middle portion. Oh, got different. Also can. Also okay. Also okay. Now, some of you drew this point to this point, or this point to this point, and then you connect up, right? Also can. Okay, now, what I want you to know is that there's no right or wrong answer, but that line that you draw must give you clarity. That means if today you draw something like this, can you see where would price likely head moving forward? At least 1 or 2 steps ahead. You can see that picture for me. Okay, that's what I want you to draw so you can actually experience that feeling. This one. This one easy. This one not jialat. John. This one very easy. Yeah. This one you should be able to see this. Clear or not? Very clear, right? Okay, next one. Okay, so I include quite a bit of examples so that you can practice just visually keep drawing. Okay, this one, if you can, there's actually a few on the chart. Okay, that means there are a few structures that you can actually draw lines in. Draw. Okay, so you should be able to catch something like this. Okay, now later when we go into the multi-time frame, or we call fractal confirmation, okay, you'll be able to understand why this chart has so many of those. Okay, but I want you to now on this chart, can you see there is what we call the bigger one? Okay, and then of course these are internal one that is done deal. Okay, so the bigger one you can see is this one here, okay, and this one here. Okay, last one. Okay. No right or wrong, but there's a general feel to it. So you cannot anyhow draw 2 lines. Okay? You still need to follow what the market is showing you. Okay? So this one you should see something like this. Okay, so some of you are able to catch it. Now, I want you to go back to this particular... Okay, this particular one. Okay, on your piece of paper, okay, you have some space on the right. Okay, some space on the right. I want you to just, based on this structure, visually move 2 steps of how the market is going to do. Okay, so for example, the market price is now here, right? Okay, so how do you project based on now this structure? Do you think price will move next? 2 steps. That means, is it going to go up first, then down, or down first, then up? And likely, where is it going to move towards? That means, if it's up, where is it going to stop and turn down? If it's going to go down, where is it going to stop and turn back up? Okay, So that structure that you drew on this chart should give you that clarity. Where is it going to head to? Where is it likely going to stop and U-turn? Make sure you look at the same chart as mine. Okay, Now, how many of you actually draw this? That means this here, move up, continue, go up here, and then come back down. How many of you drew that? Okay. Any one of you drew, come back down, and then go up? I have a few. Okay, now this part here is, you still remember I mentioned impulses gives us that probability in the direction. Okay, so between that, between that two probability of one going up then down and then one down and up, which one do you think has a higher probability? Up first, right? Because the momentum is up. Okay, so this one here, I want you to also understand that impulses, which is momentum that is strong, has that probability of that direction. I'll just leave it like that. Clear? Okay, so that this chart gives you the idea that this is going to come up here, and then from here, highly is going to U-turn. Okay, Okay, now this part that you've drawn, how do you think price will move? So draw in two steps after this. That means two. Up first, down, or down then up. Right? So very high chance this momentum is strong, right? So there's a very high probability you go up to this point and then come back down. Okay? Now you realize that there's this structure here and this one bottom, right? So definitely it will come down. This becomes where the key area you need to watch. Okay, so that is the role of having structure. It gives you that big picture clarity.